What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here. In today's video, we will be going over a build on each class that you can use to solo the master version of the Veles Labyrinth Lost Sector. But first, let us go over the modifiers in this Lost Sector. As always, on master difficulty you have extra shields, match game, locked loadout, and extra champions. This is a Hive Lost Sector, so we will be dealing with Barrier Knights and Unstoppable Ogres. The Hive modifier is Fire Pit. Acolytes will spawn fire pools that cause damage over time when defeated. The destination modifier is solar and environmental damage taken, so the fireballs that acolytes lob or spawn upon death will deal a ton of damage, so you have to watch out for them. The master modifier is chaff, which just disables your radar. Honestly, not a bad modifier at all, way better than attrition from yesterday's video. And lastly, we have arc burn, so our arc weapons and abilities will deal more damage. The first loadout I will show you is the Titan. For this loadout we are running Bottom Tree Solar, Code of the Siegebreaker. We have thermite grenades on and we are pairing it with the exotic Hollowfire Heart. This gives us our abilities faster once we have our super. Sadly, it takes a few minutes to get your super, but this exotic is extremely powerful on Bottom Tree Solar. Bottom Tree allows us to spawn sunspots, which can create Warmind cells for us. So we are running a full Warmind cell build. Wrath of Rasputin allows solar splash damage to create Warmind cells, which counts with the sunspots that we create. I could have ran a solar rocket launcher as well to spawn more Warmind cells, but I wanted to take advantage of the extra damage from arc burn. You want 100 discipline with this build, as thermite grenades will allow us to take advantage of the Warmind cells. We are fully kitted with the Warmind cell mods. As mentioned before, we have Wrath of Rasputin. We also have Fire Team Medic to give us a burst of healing when blowing up a Warmind cell, Global Reach to increase the radius of the Warmind cell explosion, and Burning Cells and Rage of the Warmind to add solar damage to our Warmind cell explosions. This allows us to chain Warmind cells from blowing up a different Warmind cell. Additionally, we will spawn sunspots when this happens. This build has so much synergy and is an ad clear monster. It is the main build I use in most content in the game. It's just so strong for ad clear. The most random part of this Lost Sector is at the very start in this cave. Sometimes ads come up one at a time and take a long time to take out. Ideally, you want to get to the corner and get a thermite grenade down before they run up on you. This will create sunspots and take out other ads and spawn a Warmind cell after 5 or 6 ads are dead. If you get lucky, you can shoot the cell before the champions focus you and you can clear the entire room. You then just have to deal with the Barrier Knight in the cave, and then the Unstoppable Ogre from there. As always, deal with the trash ads before dealing with the champion. The Acolyte solar grenades hurt like hell and they will kill you. As you can see, I messed up my Izanagi reload, but it is not a big deal. As you can see in the background gameplay, a ton of enemies were dying. I didn't even shoot the Warmind cell, they just died to all the sunspots that my grenade created. When the grenade takes out one ad, it will create a sunspot, and then if another ad dies in that sunspot, it will just keep chaining sunspots. So as the ads were running into the cave, they all were just getting melted by all the sunspots. I didn't yet go over my weapon loadout, so here it is. We have Izanagi's Burden with anti-barrier sniper rifle, a Stars and Shadow pulse rifle with unstoppable pulse, and the Shining Sphere rocket launcher for our heavy. This has auto-loading holster on it, which is why I like it so much. I'm running double sniper rifle scavenger because Izanagi's Burden eats up a ton of ammo. And lastly, on the chest piece, I have a concussive dampener mod. You definitely want at least one of these, if not two, or one with arc damage resistance, as the Barrier Knight arc blast deal a ton of damage, especially when you're at lower light. Once you're through the cave, the rest of the Lost Sector is fairly easy. You want to take out the Acolytes by the night as soon as you can, and then lay down a grenade for all the incoming thrall. Once all these enemies are down, you just deal with the night as usual. You will then have an Unstoppable Ogre to deal with. The trick with the Unstoppables is to just play your distance and you can go around and around the rock if you have to escape them. Once the white around their antlers on their head go away, you just stun them again and do a bit more damage, and then rinse repeat until they are dead. From here, you have to take out the wizard, which will spawn in 2 more unstoppable ogres and the boss, as well as a whole bunch of adds. This is where the Warmind cells can really come in handy. You want to deal with the adds right away and then take out the unstoppable ogres. Once the ogres are down, that is it for the champions. You then just have to kill the boss and collect the loot for a platinum clear. You don't even have to kill all the enemies. I kept a death in this run so that you can see just how hard the boss hits with his arc blast. You definitely want to keep your distance, or use a super to try and melt him. So that is it for the Titan clear. Next up we have the Hunter. For the Hunter build we went with the Stasis class, the Revenant. We have Gambler's Dodge to get our shurikens when dodging near enemies, and Duskfield Grenades for slowing enemies. We have Grim Harvest and Winter Shroud for our aspects. This allows us to get more melee energy, which will allow us to freeze more often. This allows us to take advantage of Whisper of Hedrons. This will give our weapons a 25% damage buff whenever we freeze an enemy. We also have on the fragment Whisper of Durance to make our slow abilities last longer, and Whisper of Shards to give us grenade energy back anytime we shatter a stasis crystal. We also have the exotic boots Frosties equipped. This gives us shorter cooldowns on all our abilities whenever we sprint. We have anti-barrier sniper rifle with the long shadow, and for stopping unstoppables we have the Leviathan's Breath exotic bow. Finally we have Ikelos SMG on to make Warmind cells, and we have Burning Cells, Rage of the Warmind, and Global Reach to take advantage of the Warmind cells. We then have Taking Charge and Protective Light for better survivability, and lastly Sniper and Arrow Finders and Scavengers to keep our reserves up on our ammo. That's it for the Hunter build. We'll see you in the Warlock build. You can see right here I take advantage of Gambler's Dodge to get my shuriken. The enemies are above me and I just dodge to get my melee back. I then kill the enemies with the SMG to spawn a Warmind cell. This allows me to clear out all the incoming Thrall in one shot. Here, I freeze the wizard to get Whisper of Hedrons. I then shoot her with Leviathan's Breath and it still takes 2 shots to take down the solar shield. That tells you how strong match game is. That is why if you are running it, I would highly suggest having something solar to deal with this shield. It is possible to take down as you can see, but it is far from ideal. Once the ogres are dead, I cast my super on the boss. This procs Whisper of Hedrons, and the tornado helps deal with the remaining adds. I then bow the boss to death and it's an easy clear. Lastly, we have the Warlock. For this loadout, we are on Middle Tree Arc, the Attunement of Control. We have Pulse Grenades and a Healing Rift. We're running Unstoppable Hand Cannon, even though the loadout shows Pulse Rifle. That's my bad. The Anti-Barrier Sniper Rifle. We have 2 Concussive Dampener mods for survivability, as we are only 13-15 light in this run. And we have the Exotic Boots Geomag Stabilizers to buff our Chaos Reach. This is so we can easily melt the boss at the end. We have Rocket Launcher, Finder, and Scavenger to keep our ammo up. We have the Succession Sniper Rifle, the Sunshot Hand Cannon, and the Rocket Launcher Sub-Zero Salvo with Chain Reaction. This is really good for ad clear as well as on champions. Enjoy the gameplay. I messed up here and wasted my grenade on the acolytes. Always save the grenade for the incoming thrall, it takes them out super easily. So here you can see I have to scramble and run around a little bit until I get my grenade back. So I included a run on my Warlock using Anarchy. I wouldn't be a very good content creator if I didn't share the optimal way to farm this lost sector. And with Arc Burn being on, it is the obvious choice. I also have the God Roll Succession and Stars and Shadow Pulse Rifle with it. As in most cases, on pretty much any lost sector, use Anarchy if you have it. The gun has so much utility, it's kind of a no-brainer to use, especially when you're under light. You can trap off the cave entrance at the start to take out the adds. You can stick it to champions to do damage over time while you hit them with other weapons. The other loadouts were fun and unique, so if you're trying to get creative or you don't have any weapon options, feel free to use any variant of the weapons I showed off. I like showing off a variety of loadouts in these videos so that hopefully they will help you find a loadout that works for you. The other runs were all sub 7 minutes, which isn't bad, but with Anarchy I was sub 4 minutes and I died. I could easily get that time down even more. Not to mention I'm 9 light below recommended power, so this will only get easier. Last season, this was the Lost Sector I farmed constantly. On Hunter, I ran Top Tree Night Stalker with 6 Coyote. Paired with Unstoppable Shotgun, you could deal with the Ogre super fast. I ran Chaos Reach on Warlock. Titan, I ran the same type of build as you saw today, but with the new chest exotic, you could run Middle Tree and melt the boss just like the Chaos Reach does. And on all 3 characters last season, I could farm the master versions in under 3 minutes very consistently. There are so many options, but I highly recommend farming this Lost Sector when it is up on rotation. I prefer Lost Sectors with Unstoppables over ones with Overloads. Unstoppables don't gain health back. As well, Overloads can be super glitchy. Unstoppables are much easier to deal with. And Barrier Knights are so much easier to handle than Barrier Servitors. The immunity the Servitors give can really screw you over. And they are really hard to hit crits on after you stun them for some reason. I don't know what is up with that. I have yet to farm all the Moon Lost Sectors as of the making of this video, but I plan to put out guides for those as well. Maybe one of them will be super easy, who knows. But for now, in my opinion, this is by far the easiest Lost Sector to farm. So when it is in rotation, hop in there and get farming. But that is pretty much it from me. I hope this video helped you out. If it did, please leave a like as it really helps the channel. And if you want to see more Lost Sector builds, I plan on making one for every Lost Sector, so be sure to subscribe. As well, I am new to video creation, so I mixed it up and went with background music in this one over gameplay sound. I'm curious which you prefer. Let me know down in the comments if you liked it or hated it. I'm trying to make better videos, so feedback is very welcome. Maybe a mixture of both is better, I'm not sure. I'm experimenting and trying to find out what both myself and my viewers like the best. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video and happy farming. Take care.